Emma Smart was jailed for 4 months yesterday. She said she's going to go on hunger strike while she's in there.
Suffragettes.
Because she says the government is betraying us. And we can speak to her husband, Andy Smith, now. Do you believe the sentence was too harsh, Andy?
Morning, Jeremy. I believe the sentence for breaking the injunction was fairly just. But I think what's really important here is to remember that the court has made a value judgment, and the court has decided that they would rather imprison these people than try and leverage to save the lives of 8,500 elderly people who are likely to die this winter.
And I gather your wife is going to go on hunger strike in jail.
Yes, I believe she is, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
I think at the moment, the court sentencing, she's now in prison. They've taken away her right to free speech as a result of her actions. She doesn't regret her actions. She stands by her actions. And so now she's using the only method she can to try and gain more leverage for their cause.
She's on the left in the photo we're showing. She was criticised a bit for flying around a lot, Andy, before the protests.
Actually, Jeremy, that's completely incorrect. She has been criticised and highlighted by the right-wing media and been called an eco-hypocrite for undertaking a round-the-world drive 10 years ago. And I just want to reiterate at this point that 10 years ago she calculated her carbon footprint of living at home and also driving around the world in a 4x4 diesel. And her carbon footprint was half whilst living in a 4x4 driving around the world. It was living in a shared house with 4 people. And that really highlights, actually, the irony in that is actually amazing, because if the house had been better insulated, then that difference wouldn't be so big.
We've got the right-wing media here, to use your phrase. Andrew, forgive me. What do you make of what Andy said?
Insulate Britain have no idea how much it would cost to carry out their policies to insulate every house in the country. If you try and insulate an Edwardian house, you're going to have real problems. If you ask the spokesman, they put the cost at anywhere between 500 billion and 4 trillion. It's clueless. They're selfish. They have caused great medical discomfort to people by blocking motorways for up to 5 or 6 hours. We know of the elderly woman who had a stroke down her left side, and the hospital told the son that if he'd got there in a normal time, she would have been sent home the same day. People have missed their cancer appointments, they've missed their eye appointments, people haven't been able to get to work, people on 0-hour contracts who've got very little money haven't been able to get to work. And also, these people, Jeremy, every time they walk out or run out in front of a car, fine if they want to risk their own life and limb, but they are putting at risk the people behind the wheel.
Andy, can you respond on, I guess, your wife's behalf, if you don't mind, as she's in jail?
I'm certainly not in a position to speak for Insulate Britain. I'm not an Insulate Britain spokesperson. I am the husband of a human being which has been put in prison, a human being who's fighting for the justice of elderly people who are dying every year. And I think there needs to be a level of proportionality. She's truly sorry. She regrets having to disrupt people. I know that. We've had conversations about this. Right. But like this person who spoke earlier, this is in a long tradition of making long-term system change. Nothing else works.
Well, Yasmin is nodding. I'm guessing you're proud of her, Andy.
Of course, obviously. She's a woman who's strong and stands by her convictions. She's fought her whole life for justice, and this is a major injustice. This is life or death, Jeremy, right? This is like 20 years ago I learned about the climate crisis, right? And I don't think the general public realise the implications of what is coming our way. It is life or death. I have young nieces. My wife is an aunt.
How long is she going to go on hunger strike for, Andy?
I don't know, Jeremy. I really don't know.
OK. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.